Hi everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is India and I have been making videos all about my candle making journey at Page Turning Products, a small batch literary home fragrance company. Today I have another wax melt video for you. Today I'm going to be trying to make marbled wax melts. I know that some people make them and they're really pretty. Well, I'm going to try and make them too. So this is going to be me attempting to make them. So first off, over there I have my pouring pitcher of my tart wax. I've said it before in my previous wax melt video about coloring with mica, which I will link above and below in the description box. I have my pouring pitcher with my 494 in it, which is a soy tart wax. And I've decided to try and use these snap bars. I think they're really great, and I think that I'm trying to get away from clamshells and to use less plastic. So I've got this. So I am having them packaging. I finally got one of these funnels. I think it's called a piston funnel. I know chocolatiers use it for stuff like that. And honestly, for making wax melts, whether they be these snap bars or when I make my unicorn wax melts, it has been such a game changer because I don't pour wax all over the place. So for this first try, I have put some fragrance oil in, just something random, and I'm using mica, and I'm just kind of putting the mica in it. Literally just putting the mica in it, but not really stirring it around. I stirred it just enough to kind of get it in spaces, but not enough to completely color it or get it completely dispersed throughout. So that's kind of my first attempt with the mica here. Look at that. Didn't spill a drop on my table. Amazing. I will link. I got this one from an Etsy store I talked about in a different video of candle making supplies you definitely need or make your life easier. But you can also get it off of Amazon that I will post. So I don't remember what I'm doing here. We're about to find out together what I'm doing here. Okay, so this time I'm taking a drop of liquid candle dye. This one just happens to be from Pro Candle Supply, but I have some from Flaming Candle and Candle Science that work just fine. And I put a drop in the hot wax, and then I'm just kind of like smearing it around the hot wax I poured in without trying to completely mix it together. Okay, so I've got a little bit of wax left. This time I dropped a few drops in the pour pitcher. And I'm going to try and pour it directly in the mold, but it looks like I completely... Oh, I see what I'm doing. So I'm taking the wax that I completely dyed. I've completely dyed here, and I am pouring it on top with my bamboo skewer. Once my arm moves out of the way, you'll be able to see what I'm working on. And so I'm splashing it in that empty wax snap bar holder. I'm splashing it in there. and tart wax cools very, very fast. So now that I've splashed it all over, I can already tell how these are going to cool, so I've just decided to kind of pour the rest of that on top of these. I'm currently just taking my heat gun and I'm re-melting the remainder of the wax in my pour pitcher, so I can clean out my pour pitcher and scrape that down and off. And for this side, where I splashed the dyed purple on top, I took my heat gun on top of it and tried to melt it out some, so that way it would smooth out and then hopefully create some of that marbled effect. And so just kind of trying different things here. Whoops. So now that I've cleaned out my pour pitcher, I'm taking hot wax and I am putting it on top of those dried marbled, the stuff that I kind of spilled or splashed into there. And so we'll see how that dries in a moment. So now we're going to have a super, super fast time lapse of these wax melts drying. What I did notice while these were drying, the first three that I poured in the top right, those were the ones that I put the mica directly into the funnel without stirring it around. So the best part about that is that your first three are going to come out beautifully marbled with your color or your mica, because I just kind of also put in drops. I forgot that I also put in drops of the liquid dye, so those are going to come out beautifully marbled that you'll see in the future, but it only happens for the first ones just because all of that weight, at least in the funnel, I don't know about a pitcher, at least in the funnel, all of that weight of the undistributed mica and undistributed dye is brought down to the bottom of the funnel, so that's why it's able to do that for the first three. And then the next three still have some color, but it's not as swirly as the first three are. So if you're going to do it that way, then I would either keep adding like a drop at a time of your colorant, especially liquid colorant. It's going to be a lot easier for this than dye chips, just because obviously dye chips have to dissolve versus the liquid colorant doesn't have to. And then you don't even need mica for this, but you guys know it just makes it look shiny, and I like how it looks when it melts. It just makes it look sparkly. But you would have to put in like a little bit of drops every few to truly get that marbled look. At least with this method. People probably have a better method, but I just wanted to try it out a few different ways. And so you can see that last one we did with the splatter, that's cooling, and because all of the wax isn't dyed, it's cooling white. And then the last one, or the next to last one, we filled it with colorant, and then we went back in with clear wax and clear fragrance. So you can tell that is also you can tell that might look a little marbled afterwards, but we'll be able to truly tell when we pop them out of the container. So the next thing that I wanted to do is I of course wanted the back of these wax melts to be really smooth. So I decided to take my heat gun and remelt the back side of these wax melts down, and see how that kind of also helps with the whole marble effect all the way through. Since it's now going to be melted into smoothness, you see I'm just kind of taking a bamboo skewer and smoothing it out a little bit, just so that it is completely smooth around the back. So we'll see how the front looks once those cool as well, and then we'll be able to flip them over and take them out. Normally when the backs are cool like this, or not like this, but when the backs become cool and they're hard to the touch, then I'll flip them over and let them cool with the silicone side up, kind of like baking a cake. How you let it cool on your wire racks, that way it cools all the right way around. But then to easily get it out of your cake mold, the best way to do it is to flip your cakes over and then pull up the mold. So I just so that way gravity it's silicone, so it's still kind of sticky, but I just like doing that, so that way I also know that it's very cool and even on the top, and then I will pop them out that way, so that way they don't break and they don't get crumbly. But still be gentle when you pop them out, because they're nice and snappy, like they're supposed to be. Snap bars. Okay, so now for the final test. I am laying them over on their front side. They're nice and hard. Luckily, these are just testers, so what I do now is I leave them down just like that, like I was talking about earlier, and then I'll come back and pop them out like I'm doing now. And spin another little bit. And look at that, pops out so smoothly. And these first three turned out exactly how I wanted them to. Just beautiful marbled texture that I really wanted. And those are the three where we just put a drop of dye, a little bit of mica in it, with just giving it like 2 stirs to get it around. These next 3, you can tell the color didn't fall far enough, it fell too fast for it to be completely give it that desired effect that I wanted at the time. So you can tell with each 3, they got a little bit wider back towards their base white. But you can see on the back where we melted it down. But because we didn't melt it completely down, it wasn't going to marble all the way through to the back. But of course, if you put it in your wax melt warmer, of course, you'll still get a purple color and it won't even matter. But for the original color, of course, the first 3 are my favorite. Yeah, you see, first 3, like, don't like those. Where is that last one? So that's the one we splattered on. That has its own fun vibe. It gives it definitely a splatter paint vibe. And so that is the one we splattered on and then poured the wax onto it. The second one, you can see in the bottom, that's when we put the dye directly into the thing. Maybe what I would do next time is put a little bit of wax in it and then a drop of dye versus directly onto the silicone liner and go from there. But that's the whole point of testing and trying to figure out what works best. So here you can see exactly how everything turned out. And I also used just some biodegradable glitter in there, which is what you can see shining. Okay, we have a new experiment to go with, but first I have to clean up. To find my Harry Potter sweatshirt, but we gotta clean up. There's too much stuff everywhere. Today we are going to be using Mad Mica's, Strawberry Moonshine, I think is what it's called. It's a beautiful color. Look at that. It's like peachy and gold and red. Gives off just a beautiful color. All the micas I use, I know I talked about this before, but all the micas I use are from Mad Mica's. I've used them in soaps and in my wax melts. I'm gonna let you guys be the jury on if mica can be used in candles. That is such a hot topic in the candle world. The thing with mica, though, just like how it sank to the bottom of my piston funnel, it will, as your candle burns, mica doesn't burn off. So as your candle burns, all that mica just starts to sink into your candle, into your candle, into your candle. I know I use mica in my unicorn candles, but I use just a pinch, and there's so much other wax and so much other stuff in there that it doesn't really matter. But it still burns well. But it does start off as a little flame in the beginning. If you decide to burn your unicorn candle, it does start off as a little flame, but then as it goes down deeper into the candle, it burns a lot hotter, or a lot like a normal flame on your wick, which is why I kept it that way. But with wax melt, since you're not dealing with the wick, worried about clogging your wick or something trying to burn, you can use however much mica you want. So that's just my opinion on mica. Like I said, go forth and test your candles and decide, but test it all the way down to the bottom. I think some people decide to do it. Oh my God, we're using my favorite. Oh my God, this sexy fragrance, Pomegranate Noir today. It's my dark romance candle. Y'all, there's a reason I call it my dark romance candle. That thing is sexy. Anyway, but I think some people, when they're testing, especially testing out mica, they don't necessarily test it all the way down to the bottom, and it's that bottom part that you have to worry about, because like I said, your wax disappears as it burns, but the mica does not. It does not burn off. It just sits there. That's like sand in your candle, okay? Sand's not going anywhere. And so if that catches on fire or burns up too hot, it does have the potential to crack your jars. So some people do it. They might like just brush like a paintbrush of a little extra coating on top. It looks beautiful. And from what I understand, it works well. So just something to look for. I know this is the stirring content you've been looking for. Someone come help clean up my studio, please. My studio is my spare bedroom in my house, if you were wondering. I haven't decided to do a studio tour or not. If you think I should do a studio tour, let me know. Or an office tour, let me know. I love my office. I do. So, just think about your girl. Come back and stir a little more. Okay, so here comes our handy dandy funnel again. I don't know why I'm stirring so much. I genuinely do not know why I'm stirring so much. Y'all, if there's anything that you definitely need when making candles, it's an abundance of paper towels. So now we're going to pour out our funnel. Now for this one, remember we've only done our tart wax, fragrance oil, and mica. We have not done any candle dye in this one so far. Also, a little pro tip for the funnel going forward, what I start doing now is I actually take my heat gun and I heat that sucker up before I pour my wax in it, just because tart wax cools so fast and so rapidly. Look how pretty that is. Looks like a whole sunset. Or hot lava. One or the other. Anyway. So this time I've stirred my mica in it completely. Okay. I am taking my color and we're doing a couple of drops in a couple of different places around the container, because I don't want to stir it all together. And so I'm just kind of stirring it down. I'm kind of pushing it down, but pulling it all at the same time. Just kind of swirling it around, kind of like you would frosting, but trying to make that like marbled effect, but without stirring it together to change the color. So, got our molds ready. Look at the way that just shines in there. It's so satisfying to watch. So I'm kind of stirring it around this time. And you know how I said the last time I didn't put enough towards the bottom or enough dye. So this time I'm trying it again by doing about half and then doing it again and then adding more dye towards the middle. This time I'm using candle dye from Candle Science. Oh God. And we're gonna try it again. Beautiful. So the first four was the first four batch that we did, and then the last two was when I re-added dye in there. I just kind of poured a little bit, instead of using a wax melter, I just kind of poured a little bit of hot wax in there to help get the mica on dye off the sides, and then just kind of going in with it. And now cleaning the funnel is not the easiest thing in the world, just because you do have to get underneath the spigot, the spout thing. So you do have to get underneath there to make sure all of that's clean, so that way when your wax cools, it doesn't harden under there. So that's another way to take your heat gun also and heat it up, and then, you know, get that wax flowing. Then it's a lot easier to clean it out. So in this final clip, you can see where I was trying out different packaging options. At the time, I was using shrink wrap for my soaps. So I used the same size shrink wrap. I was actually able to get 2 of these snap bars in one thing I used for my soaps, and just shrunk wrapped it down. Next up, you'll be able to see how the colors came out for each bar, for one of each bar. And you can try and practice your own melts. This fragrance smells so good, so it didn't really matter to me how it turned out, but you guys know how layering your colors with mica and dye changes. We did a whole experiment on that one in my previous video. So I'll let you guys be the tester and tag me on Instagram at Page Turning Products and let me know how it went. I kind of want to know. I want to see you guys' beautiful creations. But y'all, that is it for me. So make sure to follow me on all of the social media. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell notification button so you never miss anything. Until next time, keep the spark.